Hello and welcome to the second part of the 6th edition of Rank Your Albums. Today we're looking at the top 30. Everyone remaining, congratulations, you made it past the first part. And we're going to keep going with, I would call, the C tier albums, because we're still kind of in that territory. So you already know what's going on. Let's just dive right back into number 30.
Oh, holy, any day, any day, any day.
And from Sam Freely, we have The Smiths with The Queen is Dead. And yeah, it's... What was the last fucking album we just talked about? Atheist. Yeah, like a lot of these, I don't know, 4 or 5 records in this area are kind of all the same, similar style where, like, it's fine music, you know? I think this one is very much in that style of the Ramones, like that old punk classic feel, where every song has a pretty similar vibe to it. Like you play any of these songs and you pretty much know exactly what you're in for the rest of the record. Like, it's good, solid, but nothing to lose my mind over. This was the first album I also got, so there's more fun facts. And from Lemon 45, we have Bath by Maudlin of the Well, a hybrid of a lot of metal subgenres. And yeah, I was not expecting the second track. Like, it starts pretty softly, and then track 2 kicks in, and like, it was so peaceful, and then it just went so insane. It was wild. There was that heavy section in the song Heavy and Weak, or Heaven and Weak, and that was pretty sick. Like, this is such a tough one to kind of pinpoint because it bounces between super soft to straight death metal. Like, I don't even know how to like encapsulate this. It's like a nutshell of the entire metal genre as a whole, because it just has so much in it. And it's pretty cool. It is maybe a little bit too long for me. Like, the cleans are very okay, and some of the heavy parts are cool. Like, I definitely like the heavier stuff more than the clean stuff. But yeah, this is a pretty cool listen. And from Bob Jazz, we got some Hank Mobley with Soul Station. And he asks, what is one band or artist I hate that I have not talked about yet? Oh my goddamn. You know what? I will make a video on that probably pretty soon, because there's a shitload of them. I think the most common one, I think a lot of people know already, is Guns N' Roses. I can't stand Guns N' Roses, mainly due to Axl Rose, and I'm just so sick of hearing their stupid same 3 songs over and over again. And I'm sick of them. But yeah, I will definitely be making a video on the 10 or 15 bands I will never talk about on this channel. And yeah, as far as the album goes, like, yeah, I mean, it's jazz. You know? Like, it's a nice breakup for everything else. It's... a lot of these albums are, like, you know, super metal and a couple variations here and there, but then here's this one that's just, like, straight up jazz. Like, it's cool. I think it's like nice background noise, but yeah, it's just pretty solid. And up next from Facelift, we have Morbid Angel with Covenant. What a fucking classic. If I remember correctly, he tried to give me The Mantle by Agalok, but of course they did win the second version. All those many months ago, which was a damn good album. But today, right now, we're talking about Morbid Angel, and like, yep, it's death metal, all right. You know, I know in the last episode I mentioned how death metal is definitely a genre that's hard to get into because, you know, it's just so difficult to try to grasp anything. Because even with this one, I don't think the production is super great, and it checks all the death metal stuff. You got not great production, you got vocals you can't understand. World of Shit and Vengeance is mine, I think, were the highlights for me. And once again, it's just kind of pretty solid. It did its job. Enough said. Let's move on. And from Sailor Hat Philosopher, we have The World Is Yours by Mass of the Fermenting Dregs. I would scream it because it's all in caps, but I can't because you can hear everything in this goddamn building complex. It's crazy. I mean, all of my neighbors are definitely listening to me talk about these albums, and I'm sure they're all very happy about it. But you know what? Too bad. Anyway, yeah, so Master the Fermenting Dregs. And the best way I can summarize this band is they would be a cool opener, but I wouldn't go to see them headline. The vocals I could definitely do without. Like, they don't ruin it or anything, but they're definitely not my style. The third track, instrumentally, was pretty solid. And up next from Young Nasty Man, we have Puscifer with Conditions of My Parole. I don't know if you're aware of Puscifer, but it's Maynard's other band, and they have some of his best material. Their albums are really hard to rank. I have a different list every month, basically, but this one is probably their most consistent and best work. Question: what is your favorite part of making the videos you make? Probably the title cards. I mean, especially on a video like this one where there's so many of them, I can just put on whatever, either a video or something else to listen to, and I just get in this rhythm of just finding the artworks, and it allows me to get a little creative sometimes. You know, with the number, I like to match, like whatever the number is, I like to color match it to whatever the band's logo color is. Or sometimes it's like the blank color ones, and I can fill out the background with just the solid color and make it look really cool. Other times it's the enlarged version. I don't know. I like to have fun with it. In my Devin Townsend ranking, I put the exclamation point by The Addicted, or Iron Maiden. I put the stroke around the numbers to match the color. I don't know. It's fun. I like to do those. It's pretty fun. Anyway, so Maynard James Keenan over here, Tool's main guy, or Tool's vocalist. Can the light, for the love of God, be bright? Jesus. And yeah, it's definitely a different sound. It's way more subdued and electronic from his other work. And by other work, I mean Tool and A Perfect Circle, because that's all I've heard. I don't know if there's anything else. But yeah, like Telling Ghosts, I liked. That was pretty solid. I like the heavier sections. And whenever there's harmonized vocals, I like those. It's definitely a cool vibe. Like, I'm not super into any other songs, but it definitely does have some cool moments. God damn. So, Sprite and blue raspberry syrup. God tier drink right there. And now we have Joel Lappies with Blue Oyster Cult's Spectres, one of the finest albums by the mighty Blue Oyster Cult. And to answer your question, we already did that leading up to this video. So yeah, check out my video where I talk about all of my CDs and stuff. Yeah, so Blue Oyster Cult. Yeah, so obviously you have Godzilla on here. That's like one of their big songs. Like, yeah, it's solid. I'm not too crazy about anything on there. Like, the song I Love the Night actually reminded me of the first two Iron Maiden records. Mainly the first one, because Killers I don't really like that much, or like at all, but that's fine. I'll be honest, I kind of wish you gave me the I don't know what the album's called, but it's the guy with the cards. It's the one with Don't Fear the Reaper on it, because little known fact, that is my favorite classic rock song of all time. So I was kind of hoping I would get into that album, but maybe I will at some point. But as far as this one goes, I think I don't know if this is like one of their older albums, but yeah, it's pretty good. Like, we have a couple of classic rock albums that we're about to talk about. It's hard to spoil it, but yeah, they're all like around the same territory. Oh my god. All around the same how I feel about all of them. Also, hey, check out what I learned. First person to comment what song this is gets to give me a second album the next time I do one of these. Anyway, up next from Aaron over here, we have Walkin' the Razor's Edge by Helix. And just kind of more along the lines of that 80s classic rock. Actually, the whole album kind of reminds me of back in the day, back in my days, they would have these, I don't know if they still make them, but there were like these hard and heavy compilations, you know, back in the day. My dad had one of those where it was like, I think it was literally just called The Heavy or something like that. And it was like just a steel artwork. And it was just a bunch of like random ass songs, like a compilation by various bands. And this sounds like something I would hear on one of those. Like When the Hammer Falls and Gimme Good Lovin', those were pretty decent. I remember I listened to this album while I was setting up the posters in my new studio, so. And I think Blue Öyster Cult, actually. I did that. I listened to both of these albums. I think they were actually back to back. I listened to them. And yeah, they're pretty solid, but not losing my mind over them or anything. And the final classic rock album, at least I think, at least in this area, from City Build Minecraft, we have Toys in the Attic by Aerosmith. And his question, are there any bands or artists out there who I used to not really like, but I do like their music now? And, okay, we have Death Clock. When I first heard of the band, like, and the show and everything, I was like, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. And I was like, yeah, I hate them or whatever. But yeah, and then I come to really like them. I think most famously we have the Beatles, where I thought they were the dumbest shit ever because, you know, stupid ass Yellow Submarine sucked ass, and the stupid ass I Am the Walrus. I was like, wow, those songs are dumb. The whole band is dumb. And then I discovered, oh wait, they actually made songs I actually like that I had no idea it was them. So I like them. We have The Weeknd, but that's kind of mainly that entire genre, not specifically just him. But yeah, there's a couple. And for Aerosmith, we had Walk This Way and Sweet Emotion were on these. So I always love Sweet Emotion. Walk This Way is kind of like, I don't know. I didn't really get into that song that much, but Sweet Emotion, I believe, is my favorite song by them. So, yeah, I do like that one. And then we have Adam's Apple's pretty good. And, yeah, you know, it's like about what I expected to be. You know, very okay rock with a lot of the really big hits. And because those a couple songs, I put them over the last few bands or albums. But I just feel like Aerosmith is just such a strange band where, like, they're super big and super famous, but I swear to God, they're like nobody's favorite band. I don't know. I have not met like really any huge Aerosmith fans, you know? Just like, I don't know. They're just like very okay, I guess. Okay, up next from Josh, we have Malcura 2 by Malcura. They're from Australia and call their music flamenco metal. Very heavy classical guitar and a very distinct style to their music. I think it's very unique, interesting music. I love it. Also on this album, they covered a song from The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. I think it's two guys, but I'm not sure. They might have added a third member. Also, question, what is your favorite Damaged metal track? I would probably have to say Rude Awakening. You know, that one's pretty good. That was always one of the more fun songs to play. And to the rest of you watching, don't worry about it. Okay, so Malcura. Like, I like City on the Moon. I like The Waltz. Honestly, I can do a little less of it. It was like 50 minutes. You know, like, it's kind of, I view it as kind of like a gimmick record or band where they have this cool, unique thing they do, but, you know, coolness doesn't last for 50 minutes, I'm afraid. And I feel like they would just, I would prefer them if they were just a strict cover band. You know, like Steven Seagal's, where, like, their original songs, let's be real, are not nearly as cool as their covers. This is how I feel about them. Like, if they took a bunch of other songs and made them, like, this unique, like, acoustic thing, that would be a lot cooler than just kind of listening to the music by itself. All right, 20 left to go. Here we go. From James Savick, we have Supertramp's Crime of the Century. And, you know, like, this is the third Supertramp record I have heard at this point already. And I'm kind of starting to get used to it, you know? Like, it's just more standard stuff for them. Like, there's some catchy melodies and maybe also some weird things. You know, anytime it starts to build up, like, what they do a lot is, like, everything stops, cuts out, and it's just, like, the pianos and vocals. It always does that, and it just gets kind of tiring. Asylum was quite an interesting track, and my favorite song was also the title track, because, man, that piano melody with the sax was really damn good. So, not my favorite of the Supertramp records I've heard, but it's okay.
Everything around me all breaks down.
And next from Frankie Rank's Music. I wonder what you do on your channel, huh? We have Graveyard with Hissingen Blues. Hope you like it. And, well, it's numbered, I think it's 19 now. So, I would say I liked it. No Good Mr. Holden, I thought was just a really cool jam. The ending of Uncomfortably Numb was good. There's a lot of good moments. Like, the Clint Eastwood instrumental was pretty cool, pretty solid. Decent variety of stuff. It's a very, very jammy record. I do think the vocals do kind of get tiring after a while, but still completely doable. And because it's super jammy like this, it feels way longer than it actually is. Like, it's only 40 minutes, but it felt like so much longer just because it just feels like one big ass long jam track, and that's all good. I mean, it is good. I think this is like maybe to give this like a B. I think we're at the B tier albums now, so yeah, pretty solid. I think I need to go see the doctor because I think there's something wrong with me. I liked a Radiohead album. Man, oh man. From Metal Rabbit, we have In Rainbows by Radiohead. It's my favorite Radiohead album, and I'll even say that it's their magnum opus. What's really crazy is that they allowed customers to buy the album for $0 because at that time they weren't under a record label and let the customer decide on how much they would pay for it. It features their best songs in their entire discography. Hope you'll enjoy it as well. Question, what are your top 5 greatest movies you've ever seen? Well, if you'll see here, I do fancy myself some movies as well. So, I think I have pretty much even movies as I do music. So, let's go through them, shall we? These aren't going to be in necessarily any particular order, but this one is in order. Number 1 movie of all time right here is Whiplash. Good old Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons. I'm sure you know the Not My Tempo scene, but this is definitely my number 1 favorite movie of all time. Love that one. Another one, we got The Shawshank Redemption right here. I actually just watched this movie 2 times in the last 12 hours. That's how good that movie is. What else? Toy Story. Gotta love Toy Story. My favorite anime movie of all time. Enough said. Then, of course, you got good old Pulp Fiction down here. Good old Mr. What's in This? Classic scene. Pretty much every scene in this movie is a damn classic. You know, gotta say, Borat. Good old, here he is again. Just absolute fucking masterpiece of a movie. We got Wolf of Wall Street. Another one of these that everyone's gotta watch. Is that 5 yet? I don't know. I like a lot of them. Man, I gotta be honest. When I saw you gave me another Radiohead album, especially after I did not like Kid A or OK Computer, I was like, there is no way this is gonna go well. And I can't believe, like, I'm saying it, but I actually do like how chill it is. Like, it definitely has some of those post-rock elements, which is kind of like what I do. So it reminds me of stuff I would hear from American Football and even maybe a little bit of King Gizzard. Like, Nude was my favorite song on the album. Like, yeah, it was just extremely surprisingly decent. Like, I wasn't into the second half of the album as much, but even still, even the fact that I really liked one half of it is a marvel. It's an absolute miracle that I did not hate my time with this album. And up next from Alex, we have Panopticon by Isis. In my mind, admittedly a very biased one, Panopticon is the album when it comes to the genres of atmospheric sludge and post-metal. The guitars are absolutely crushing. The bass and keys are subtle but excellent by adding dimension and movement. The drums on this album might just be my favorite on any record I've heard. And don't get me started on Aaron Turner's brutal but sparse vocals. The evolving layers that take place and unfold across the songs are incredible, and I'm honestly still picking things out that I haven't heard on prior listens. And for the question, do you feel that your way of listening to and enjoying music has changed after 4 years of running this channel compared to before you started it, or early in the channel's life, and if so, how? Well, I say it's really nice when I just casually get to listen to music and I don't have to write any notes. That's always fun. Also, I never really listen too critically. Like, I would absolutely never call myself a music critic, just because even that label just kind of makes me want to throw up. Because, frankly, they're all horse shit. I just listen and I write down whatever I like or don't like. Like, ooh, I like this part in this song. I like this song. I did not like this track at all. Or I didn't like the vocals in this album. And it's like basic stuff like that I don't think is ever going to change. So, yeah, I don't think the way I enjoy music has changed at all. Or even the way I've ran this. The only thing that's changed on this channel is I don't script every word like I used to in like the first year. So that's basically it. This album was definitely a lot better received the second time through it because, yeah, the ending of the opening track was pretty damn sick. Like, and I'm still not too crazy about the vocals. Like, that was a big thing for me the first time. But, like, for this, like, there's not even a lot of them. And, like, whenever there's a heavy part, it goes pretty hard. I'm also not as into the softer sections as either. If I can just stop fucking burping for like 2 seconds and get a coherent sentence out, that'd be great. I'm not as into the softer parts either, but there are definitely some good ass moments all throughout it. It was pretty good. And up next from the official Buckethead channel, we have Joe Satriani's The Extremist. Satch was the first instrumental artist I ever heard back when I was probably about 4 years old driving around with my dad. I loved it immediately, and it's probably the genesis of the stuff we're doing now. This isn't the first of his records I heard, but I think it's a good intro to his sound and style. Well, I was already intro to it with Surfing with the Alien, but Yeah, like War was pretty ballin'. Like the main rhythm that just keeps driving that track and the leads on top of it were just like super sick. I didn't really care for the two songs after that, like the slower ones. But everything besides those two songs are pretty solid. Like Friends and Summer Song are good songs as well. Like, yeah, anytime there's instrumental stuff, it's just always very solid. Like, it's really, I don't know how you make an album that's just like instrumental jams boring, but I have not heard one yet, so it's pretty good. And from Quebec Jeff, we have Nektar with Remember the Future, one of my favorite prog albums from the 70s. And I remember going through Nektar back when we were doing our like prog phases, or back when we were in the prog. Like me and my band, we went through like so many prog bands that's really the reason I got so burnt out of it, just because we listened to so much stuff and so much of it just blended like so much. But I do remember Nektar was one of the bands that definitely stood out. And yeah, like it's just super solid. Like the last few minutes of the record are just super funky, and there's just great moments all throughout it. Like I can see why. Like it's been many years since we listened to these guys, but I see why they stood out to me even back then. And up next, we're going to have Museo Rosenbach with Zarathustra. I don't know how you say this. It's super foreign. So, whatever. It's this one, okay? Oh, and I guess I should have mentioned that starting with Nektar, that was the first A-tier album. So now we're in like we're getting to the very good ones, okay? So, yeah, this one I just really like anytime it just goes super ham, because it's happening a lot in this record. Like the final part of the big opening track was very solid. The last few tracks were also very good. There's a little quiet part in the song Della Natura where the keys are like in the center stage and the bass is just grooving the hell out of it. It was just constantly going so hard, and it's just a really good album. And it's really good. Okay, from Nick, we have Lizzy McAlpine's album Older. I want to give you what will probably be my favorite album of the year. I could have sworn I gave you an album of hers before, but I never have. So enjoy some poignant and honest singer-songwriting, and I'm stoked to hear your opinion. I think what you're thinking of is we both listened to each other's favorite album of 2022, because that's when 5 Seconds Flat came out, and you listened to Devin Townsend's Light Work. So I think that's what you're thinking of. Also, we're getting a new Devin album this year in a couple months, which is fucking bananas. He just shadow dropped that shit out of nowhere. Power Nerd. So there's another contender for album of the year. I know we were talking about in the last episode, someone asked me what my favorite album of the year was, and now Devin, Opeth, and I forgot Origami Angel are probably all going to be fighting for the top spot of this year. But yeah, we'll see. This is the only album on this list that I got to hear the entire thing live. That's right, we got to see the show. She played the whole thing live, and I think after that performance, I bumped it up like 2 spots, I think. So it was a couple under, but then seeing it live, it boosted it up definitely. Yeah, like I like Come Down Soon. I like when it gets like a very full sound. It has a full sound without a lot going on. And I also, man, it was so refreshing just to hear the bass drum actually sound like a bass, because the clicky thing gets so exhausting after a while that it's very nice to hear an actual bass drum. And I think the album like very much shines in the production. Like it's almost like everything is just always in the background until it occasionally comes out and like it kind of like it gets louder and not super like just her and acoustic guitar. Anytime that happens, it's very nice. As I mentioned, the ending of Come Down Soon. Although I remember, anytime there's lyrics where it's like, we're just telling me about an experience, like, oh, I told you this, and then you said that, and then we did this, and then I thought of this. Like, it's kind of goofy lyrics. Like, I'm not a big fan of those, but everything about the song definitely helped out. But yeah, pretty good. And up next from Isabel Derry, we have Psychedelic Porn Crumpets with Shiga the Sunlight Mound. I'm finding it surprising you never ranked their albums. I'm assuming you're talking about Opeth, because yes, people have been wanting me to do them for a while now, as we've seen with the 2 suggestions already for these videos. Yeah, this one straight up feels like it could have been made by the King Gizzard and the Lizard. King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Jesus, what a stupid name they have. Except where they go like balls out a lot, this one just kind of stays in that like psychedelic zone. Except the song Terrors and Mundungus, that was my favorite song. That one just had a cool ass riff and that was pretty rad. It's just music that really requires like weird ass visuals. Music that requires you to be high or under the influence or some shit like that to really capture the experience. But yeah, it's pretty good. Very solid. And up next from Professor Dr. Fabio, we have Frank Zappa's One Size Fits All. This album is very special and very weird. I think this is perfect. I initially wanted to recommend Joe's Garage, but that one goes for 2 hours. Greetings from Germany, and thank you for inspiring me to do videos too. Would you look at that? My reach is hitting Germany now. I remember I did look up your channel after you said that, and unfortunately I do not speak German, so I don't know what you're saying, but keep doing what you do. And yeah, very much like Shake Your Booty, this one is just more goofy jamcore. Just everything is just consistently solid, albeit sounding the same, but it's a very good and unique sound because he has just a lot of... It's like the goofiness of Devin Townsend's entire career jammed into each of these records. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, very good. And with that, we are breaking into our top 10. Congratulations to all the finalists. You know who you are. And best of luck to all of you, yeah? By that bridge near the border. And kicking off our top 10, we have from Camerona, we have Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak. His question is, what are some album covers that I think best represent the songs in that album? This one took me so long to think, because first of all, it's a very good question. Like, that is definitely a thinker right there. And because I was just trying to think, immediately that what came to mind was Master of Puppets, because there's a lot of death in that album. You know, like Disposable Heroes, I think even the title track, Damage Inc., probably even Leper Messiah. Just like so many songs that revolve around people dying. And the artwork is obviously a bunch of gravestones. So, yeah. I thought of that, and I thought about it. I was like, well, what album... Like, is there an album cover that just has a representation of all the songs in it? And that album would be Post-Apocalypto by Tenacious D, you know? You have, obviously, you got the two guys. You have the dog, who's Hope. That's one of the songs. We got Daddy Ding Dong over here. That's one of the songs. We have The Robot. That's one of the songs. So, you know, it's just like a bunch of... We have Women over here. That's one of the songs. Yeah, just like, I don't know. Might be a goofy answer, but that does represent the songs on the album because all the songs on the album are like part of the cover. So that's my final question. So thank you all who went the extra mile to ask me something. Yeah, next time, give me more, damn it. Anyway, so Thin Lizzy's Jailbreak. Like, dude, it's just solid, man. Like, one of my friends mentioned how it feels like Steely Dan with less production, and it's like, yeah, man, that pretty much captures it. Like, nice and short. You got the classics with Jailbreak and, you know, Boys Are Back in Town. And then there's other good jams like Warrior and Emerald that just, yeah, it was just a very good album. And what a way to kick off top 10. And coming at number 9, we're going to have Hall & Oates with Abandoned Luncheonette. And this one comes from a very special subscriber. God rest your soul, Julian. I know you're looking down on me from above. He's a former coworker who actually was my 1,000th subscriber. So, yeah, very, very important one right there. And he gave me Hall & Oates. Much like Thin Lizzy reminded me of Steely Dan, this one also reminds me of Steely Dan, except way more laid back. And maybe even a little bit of Zappa as well. Like, especially in the last track where it goes super ham. Las Vegas Turnaround had a good-ass sax solo. Like, a few songs have a sax solo, but that one was especially good. And, yeah, just overall, just a really, really solid album. A+ for me. Thank you for the suggestion. It was very good. And I hope Pep Boys is treating you well. And from James McGuire, we have Kazimachi Roman by Happy End. And, the bass was going very hard in this entire record. I wonder who was playing it. Let me look it up. It's a guy with the last name Hassano. Oh, Hassano. Where have I heard that name before? Oh, that's right. I heard it from this record. That's right. We have the winners of the last edition of Rank Your Albums returning with another band. Yeah, bro. How are you not going to mention that the only surviving member of Yellow Magic Orchestra was in this band? Like, that would have been a cool fun fact to give me. But, yeah. The fifth track, I don't know what they're called because they're all in Japanese. So, yeah, the bass was going pretty ham. And just, like, the whole thing is just this, like, very laid back, full of groovy jams. And, you know, honestly, for being number 6 or 7 or 8, whatever the hell number this is already, I thought I would have had more. But, yeah, to be honest, I don't have a lot to say about the next few because what am I going to say? They're all just fucking really good. This one's really good. Next one's really good. Oh, yeah, that track was great. This track was great. None of the songs were bad. Enough said, man. And from Shadow Allegiance Metal, we have Power Trips, Nightmare Logic. It's just, it's thrash. This is the only thrash metal album I got on this entire thing. And, yeah, it's really solid. You know, like, I wouldn't put it on the same level as how I felt about the Nemesis record, obviously, because that one won. But, you know, it's always still nice to get some solid-ass thrash. Like, the standout tracks could literally be anything. And it's only like a half hour, so it goes by really quickly. It just beats your ass. It's kind of like Rain and Blood, where it just kind of beats your ass for a little bit, and then it just goes away. So, yeah, very fun record. Thank you. Good stuff. And from Christian Boles, YouTube Burlick himself, we have Songs from the Big Chair by Tears for Fears. This is my favorite album ever. Even, sure, it has popular 80s hits like Shout and Everyone Wants to Rule the World, but it also experiments with long song lengths and proggy song change-ups. Every track brings something new to the table. I can't express how amazing it is for me. And, yeah, besides those songs, I also liked Mother's Talk. That was a pretty chunky song. And then you have Listen, which I think is such a mood. I really like the vibe of the album. It's like most of it is super relaxing, and just the way it's like produced just sounds great. And yes, your number one favorite album of all time is very deserving to be number 6 on this video. Number 5, coming in from Alvaro Vasquez, we have Close to a World Below from Immolation, my favorite death metal album of all time. I do not know why. I really do not know why this album works for me so as well as it did, but my fucking god, like, I can see why it's your favorite. Like, the lows on it are just super low, and the drums are just fill, blast, fill, blast, fill. Like, there's even toms as there are like snares on this goddamn album, and that's pretty impressive. And even the vocals, like, about 5% of the time I can understand it, and that I think might be a factor as well, because every once in a while I hear a line, it's like, oh, I actually knew what he said. That was pretty cool. I think my favorite song was Put My Hand in the Fire, but honestly, it could probably be anything on the album. It's just, I really want to see this band live. I want to mosh and crowd surf to this record so bad. And because I know they have a lot of records. I even looked up like their recent set list, and they don't seem to play a lot from this album, which is super upsetting. But I don't know if their other records sound anything like this. But yeah, I even listened to this album with my friend Nick, who wasn't having any of it. And even when I was done, I was like, I can't believe how high I just put this record, because I don't know why, it just worked so well. It really hit the right spot for me. Like, yeah, maybe it's the way it's produced, maybe it's the way the vocals sound, maybe it's the fucking blast fill. I don't know what it is, but yeah, a damn good album. And from Go 2001, coming in number 4, we have Heartwork by Carcass. If I like death, I should definitely check this one out. And yeah, I can definitely see the comparison. I actually I was torn between putting this one or Immolation, like which one was better. Because as far as death metal goes, both of these are definitely one of the better ones I've heard. But I put this one above it because the riffs, they aren't as like death metal-y, but they are still like super hard. They're actually very engaging and not just like noise. So I think that's probably why I put this above it. Once again, any song could be the highlight. Just solid as hell. Vocals do their job. It's just, it's true, man. All these albums above here. I'll tell you what, S tier albums start with Immolation, because at this point, like any of the songs on the album could be like the highlight. So, yeah, just good ass shit.
All the guilty people, they said they've all seen the stain on their daily bread.
All right, y'all ready for top 3 time? It's time for the top 3. All 3 of you gave me some good ass albums, so, or I guess all you 5 gave me good ass albums, but our bronze medal is going to go to Leonardo Cruz with Joni Mitchell's Court and Spark. Jazzy, cool, and such a great piece. Also, last time I heard a little from your band, it sounds pretty cool. I want to see you grow in music. Have you heard? I don't know if you heard, but Callous Wings' Adrift Aimless is available now to listen to. Check it out. You better check it out. Because, in fact, for the next edition of Rank Your Albums, whoever buys a copy will get to give me 3 albums. That's right. We're going, Rank Your Albums is going pay to win over here. So get your copy and send me suggestions. I'm not actually doing that, but yeah, seriously, check it out. So yeah, Joni Mitchell over here. Man, this shit is just good. It's just good. I had chills for at least a few minutes throughout this track or this album, and that's gonna be kind of the theme of these top 3. It just depends on how many of them, how many chills they gave me is the order of this. But yeah, but like you said, it's jazzy, cool. Like, it's just such a chill vibe with like great melodies, great vocals, and it just makes you feel good. Makes you feel good. The Paramore album, I mentioned how too much good vibes makes me sad, but not this one. This one was just all solid. Actually, honestly, the only songs I could do without are Raised on Robbery and Twisted. Those two kind of just felt out of place, but yeah, everything else, it just actually kind of reminds me of Tapestry by Carole King, where I think both these albums are definitely 2 albums that everyone needs to listen to in their lifetime at least once, because it's just really good. It's really good. It's just all across the board. The production, the performances, the writing, the lyrics, just everything is just on the top of the world. Minus those 2 songs, but that's fine. So yeah. Good ass album for number 3. And the runner-up is going to be Alcest, Spiritual Instinct by, looks like some Polish shit right there. And yeah, just more good, solid stuff. The opener had some cool stuff towards the end of the song. I liked all the chords and stuff. The vocals I actually really like. The album kind of reminds me, not music-wise, but just feeling-wise, with the Agalok, the Mantle, where just everything is just super well written. And this is definitely a band that I need to check more out, because if it's anything like this one, then it's probably going to be a pretty damn good band. Yeah, I don't know what else to say besides it's really solid and just a great listen. And that leads us into number 1. Now, honestly, I'm willing to wager that even the one who gave me this album probably wasn't even expecting to win. And I wasn't expecting to like it this much either. Because if you notice, so far, we haven't had our foreign album yet. And that's because on this edition, the foreign album came in first place. And from Nim Likes Music, the winner, the gold medal of Rank Your Albums number 6, coming in with Harmonium's French-ass title, but it basically translates to If We Needed a Fifth Season, or the 5 Seasons, I think it's, as it's sometimes called. It's a band based in Quebec, or it was, and I don't know what language it is. I don't know if it's sung in French or what it's sung in, but it's definitely not English. And holy fuck is how I need to start this, because first of all, we had Dixie. Okay, there's 5 tracks. Each of them represent a season of the year, and the album is called If We Need a Fifth Season, because the last song is like this long 20-minute thing about this made-up 5th season. And before we get to that one, I want to talk about Dixie. Dixie was pretty rad. I really like the melodies all throughout that song. The acoustics in the 4th track, the winter song, plus the accordion, very good. I really like all the acoustics in this album, and even towards the end of the 3rd track. But then we get to this last track, and I shit you not, man. When I first heard this, I was sitting right here doing whatever, and I was listening to the album, and as a matter of fact, Haley was sitting right outside here on this chair right here, door shut, and I was listening to the last song, and no shit, it's like the first 2 minutes or whatever starts really great. really good, like the acoustics and everything. It just sounds so damn amazing. And then it breaks, and then this piano thing comes in around the 3-minute mark. And I shit you not, when that part first started, I audibly said, "Holy shit," to the point where she came in through the door, like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Nothing. It's just this song." Because the first 5 minutes of this track, I had actual chills the entirety of those first 5 minutes. Now, unfortunately, after those first 5 minutes, it gets kind of weird. Like this, like, it almost sounds like it's Alice in Wonderland type shit, where it's like this weird fucking crap going on. But then towards the end of the song, it gets, very nice again. And honestly, this is one of the most beautiful things I ever heard in my life. Like, absolutely unreal. I immediately went to number one, and I was like, yeah, there's probably nothing that's gonna top this one, because that was quite a while ago. I mean, it was probably in like the 30s that I heard this album. And yeah, I don't even need to understand a single word this guy's saying, because this shit was just straight up beautiful. Enough said. Everyone, I cannot stress enough how much you need to go listen to the final track on this record, even if just the first 5 minutes, because that's really all you need, and you'll know what I'm talking about. You'll know exactly why this shit came in the first place. So, yeah, congrats to Nim Likes Music. The band actually only has 3 albums, which is not a lot. So I'm thinking what I'll probably do is, I guess the main guy, Sergi or something like that, whatever his name is, I know he has a couple solo records, so I might add those into the mix just to, give a little more, because 3 albums is not a whole lot. But yeah, man, congratulations to you. You are the winner. And yeah, expect that video coming soon. Once again, thank you everyone for 1,030 something subs at this point. Yeah, that's quite a lot of you out there. I'll see you all with the Harmonium ranking. Hope to see you there. Check out this album. I'm telling you, man, it's really good. That's my suggestion to everyone. Actually, my suggestion is Cal Swing or Drift Aimless. Go check it out. While you're at it, go check out this album, because it's really good. So, farewell, everyone. I'm gonna turn off all these lights and hopefully stop sweating. Thanks.